In the past centuries, the world has seen many overthrows and rebellions against monarchies from around the world. From the American independence in 1776 to the French Revolution in 1789 to 1799, to both the February and October revolutions in Russia in 1917, China is not an exception to this. Starting around the 21st century BC with the Shah dynasty, since then China has seen the rise and fall of many dynasties for around 4,000 years. This is due to a philosophy concept known as the Mandate of Heaven, which suggests the emperor's authority came from heaven itself and gave him a divine right to rule, but if he could not fulfill his duties, he will lose his holy lineage. But as time progresses, countries must evolve to fit with the current time, and China will see its most important revolution and the destruction of the old system for the survival of China. By the 19th century, China was controlled by the Qing dynasty. Its decline started during the mid-1800s when the Qing dynasty attacked the British over the sale of illegal opium. The British retaliated by attacking Chinese ports with their superior firepower until eventually the Qing gave in to their demands in what will be known as the First Anglo-Chinese War. The same thing happened again in 1856 to 1860 with the Second Anglo-Chinese War. After losing again, the Qing decided to sign treaties with foreign powers in order to promote friendly relations. Though it made China more friendly to the West, many of these treaties always favored the European powers and began the loss of Chinese nationalism. Between 1894 and 1895, Japan and China fought against each other in order to spread their influence into Korea, which originally was a tributary state of China. In the end, Japan managed to crush the Chinese navy and advance through Korea, eventually leading to the Treaty of Shinmasaki. This war showed China's weakened state and how they have become just a state for the major powers to exploit. China has barely industrialized its economy, the people start to lose faith in the monarchy, and political instability is imminent. Change needed to happen. But one party, led by one man, will try to fix it all. Dr. Sun Yat-sen was a world-renowned revolutionary who dedicated his life to the overthrow of the Qing dynasty. He founded the party known as the Chinese Nationalist Party, or what will later be known as the Kuomintang. Their aim, the unification and modernization of China. The party was founded upon Dr. Sun Yat-sen's three principles of the people, which include nationalism, creating a united China of all ethnicities and advocating Chinese nationalism; democracy, installing a democratic government that was vital to creating a united China; and livelihood, which included the implementation of a land tax system which would create greater economic equality. Their main goal at this time was to modernize China from its weakened state, which was never seen before by other imperial dynasties. The ideas of the Kuomintang were very different than those throughout Chinese history and took inspiration from other powers, mainly the US. In 1911, a full-scale revolution broke out. The revolution started when the Qing government tried to nationalize two railways. This sparked massive protests, mainly in the Sichuan province. the Qing retaliated by sending in troops to arrest dissident leaders of the protest. Surprisingly, Dr. Sun Yat-sen was currently not in China during the revolution. Instead, he was in the United States on a fundraising tour. As the protests started to get worse, the Qing government decided to mobilize troops in the neighboring Hubei province. Many of these soldiers had already been compromised by Republican ideas, so on October 9th, a bomb was detonated, killing many of these soldiers, which became rebels in both their own and the government's eyes. The next day, rebels managed to seize government buildings, killing loyalist soldiers inside. On October 11th, the Hubei province declared itself a republic. This movement kickstarted many similar movements throughout China, in almost every province. Some of the fighting had very little violence, while others saw lots of bloodshed. As fighting continued, all of China had witnessed one of the most massive revolts against the monarchy in human history, motivated by the idea of nationalism and modernism. Eventually, Sun Yat-sen found out about the revolution, and he went straight to the United Kingdom and France to ensure that neither country would give financial or military support to the Qing government in its struggle. By the time he got back to China, the rebels had already taken most of China, including Nanking, the former capital of the Ming Dynasty. On February 12, 1912, Emperor Puyi, aged 6 at the time, abdicated the throne. Dr. Sun Yat-sen was put in place as the leader of the provisional government, due to many people believing that he was the only man that was capable of managing the difficult transition from monarchy to Chinese republic. After many years of suffering under Qing and foreign rule, the people finally stood up and swept away the old system and established a republic. The only problem was that the new China had no military force, so Dr. Sun Yat-sen made a deal with a famous military general. Born in 1859, Yuan Shikai had a heavy military history, starting off as a soldier, part of the Anhui Brigade of the Qing Army. He proved himself to be a reliable military officer. The Qing government made him prime minister and head of the army during the revolution. After managing to control the previously rebel-controlled city of Wuhan, he forced the rebels to negotiate. As part of the agreement, Sun Yat-sen resigned from his position, and Yuan Shikai became the first official president of the Republic of China. But unlike Sun Yat-sen, Yuan Shikai only was motivated by what he can do for himself than what he can do for the country. Seeking to increase his authority, Yuan Shikai declared himself emperor of the new dynasty, known as the Hojin. With Yuan Shikai's actions, his opponents, supporters, and even his loyal military turned against him. On March 22, 1916, Yuan backed down and dissolved the dynasty. 3 months later, he passed away at age 56. His presidency helped show the cracks of the revolution and the new republic. With his death, sparked a new era for China, the warlord era. On March 12, 1925, Dr. Sun Yat-sen died in Beijing. By 1928, the Kuomintang elected military officer and Dr. Sun Yat-sen's brother-in-law, Chiang Kai-shek, as their new president. Though China had appeared worse than before the revolution, the legacy of the revolution still carries on. It ended the Chinese imperial system due to its failures to modernize. It put ideas about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to the minds of the Chinese people. It influenced many events, including the Chinese Civil War and the Second Sino-Japanese War. It helped shape the future of China for good and bad. In Dr. Sun Yat-sen's final will and testament, he states, quote, "For 40 years, I have devoted myself to the cause of the People's Revolution with but one aim in view, the elevation of China to a position of freedom and equality among the nations. The work of the revolution is not yet over. All my comrades must continue to exert their effort. This is my heartfelt charge to you."